Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Darcy Ogandaga, CEO at Real Media, and I'm so happy that tonight, when you're watching this broadcast, I have with me Lisa Prudy, who's an international coach. She's teaching people really how to invest in themselves. It's so important where we are now in the situation we are in post-COVID and everything happening socially with what happened with George Floyd and other minorities in the United States. So it's so important for us to understand how we can position ourselves. So Lisa, I just want you to tell our audience who you are and what you do real quick, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. In fact, I am privileged to be on your platform tonight, Coach Darcy. Thank you very much for reaching out and allowing me to talk to your audience tonight. My name is Coach Lisa Prudy. I am known as a success coach. I organize event conferences with my organization, Keyword International LLC. So I'm an entrepreneur. Also, I specialize in training. I'm certified John Maxwell. So I offer coaching, but I mainly train people as well. Other new entrepreneurs or just in other areas of life where people need a little bit of coaching or mentoring. Those are things that I focus on. But recently, I started working very hard on a new project called Keywords for Success. And it focuses on offering master classes to people. And a Keywords for Success masterclass is what has become, I'll say, the main offer or the main product that my company is currently offering. But in general, I'm known as an entrepreneur, a coach, and a mentor to many people, specifically the African community here in the United States.
That's so powerful that you say. I like the way you end up, your statement, because you know what's going on now. And one of the key terms of this series I'm doing is that I like to talk about courage, but not any type of courage. It's like a triple courage. The
Yes.
courage to become entrepreneur, the courage to be a minority, and the courage to be a minority from Africa. So it means that you're from Cameroon, and I've been to Cameroon in Douala. And
Right. Yes.
what type of courage do you need to have as a Black African woman to come to the United States and have the audacity to say that I'm going to start a business? The country of entrepreneur. How do you prepare your mind to put yourself in that position and say, like, even if you from a French-speaking countries, to come here and start your classes and teach in English to touch African and people from the United States?
Sure. It requires a certain background. We have a lot of pressure. So courage comes sometimes in a form of survival, if you understand what I mean. Sometimes you don't have the choice but to be courageous, right? Because you're trying to survive.
Yeah.
If I just take you the background that I come from, you're gonna understand
Mm.
that I have no choice but to be courageous. I come from a very, very poor family in the western region of Cameroon, and my family was one of the poorest family of a poor neighborhood in that village, right? And I could barely have enough supplies to go to school. So I'll go to school and I'll ask my classmates, I'll borrow their books and everything in order to study during the break time when they're having fun, right?
Wow.
And it
Powerful.
was really hard, and I had to walk an hour and a half by foot to get to school. I had to walk to school every morning and walk to get home. And I had
Wow.
to wake up at 5 a.m. to help my mother, who was a mini restaurant owner. You know, it's not really a restaurant, but it's a little cafe where you can come and just buy what we call in Cameroon puff puff. It's little donuts that you buy and you can eat with beans. And that's I had to wake up at 5 a.m. to help her out, and then go to school, and then come back and help her out again to continue to work in her restaurant. So I come from a very difficult background, and it became a challenge to me that I have to help my family. I have to be that person who's going to help my family uh, get out of poverty and find and get into prosperity, right? And so to me, that challenge has always been my mind. When I get in the United States, I'm thinking I arrived in 2009. And if you remember 2009 is when the first black president was having his inauguration, right?
Yes.
Inauguration
Yes.
was a whole symbol to us. It was teaching us that everything is possible, that you can be a black person in a country like this one where blacks are considered minority, and there's a lot of oppression, there's a lot of disrespect, there's a lot of bigotry, and you can still be in that environment and still succeed. So I wanted you to have this background so you understand the kind of pressure that I had on me, right?
Mm.
Arriving in this country in 2009. So it took courage because I went through a lot back home in Cameroon. I also went through a lot being here in the United States. I was homeless twice. As when I got here, the first few months, I barely survived, and I was coming in a relationship. It's not like I came here and I was by myself. I came here to meet someone, but that
Wow.
someone, I was meeting someone who was not uh, completely comfortable in the environment. Although the person has been here for 15 years, the person could not even be able to take care of himself. So it was hard to take care of himself and take care of me. So
Wow.
we ended up in the streets. I
Oh my
ended up
God.
sleeping in a car during the winter, Coach Darcy. So
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
giving you this example to tell you, if I had to go through that, I had no choice but to find a way to survive. And the second time that I became homeless is when I had to get out of that relationship. I was with 3 children, and I had to take care of those children by myself. So I found myself in a situation where during the divorce process, I no longer had access to my house because I went back home. And when I came back, I was in a situation where, oh, the person lives in the house. So according to the police, until the court decides that they're going to allow me to be in the house, I have to find a place to stay. So I had no place to stay,
Oh my
right? And my
God.
children were back home at the time because I had to find a solution in this whole mess before I bring them back. In the meantime, I found myself out there, no place to stay, until a friend just decided to host me for a few days until I find my way. But I'm giving you the story so that you understand, if I went through a difficult childhood, then I went through a difficult start in the United States. I found myself homeless twice. I had no choice but to find my way to survival. And that survival, you can call that courage, but I call that survival. So I had to find a way. And one thing that I can tell you, coach, is that we are blessed. We are fortunate to be in this country. This is the
Yes.
most blessed country on earth.
Yes, it
This is
is.
a country
It
that has
is.
so many opportunities, and we just have to find a way to tap into those opportunities. And I had to wake up to begin to find those opportunities. That's what opened the doors for me to become an entrepreneur. And if you would allow me, how do I get to become an entrepreneur? Is
Go
that
ahead.
I find when I came back here, I had to find a job to survive and bring my children back. And the only opportunity that I had was to work at the Gap store, and it was for $9 an hour or so. I don't really remember, but to me, I just needed something that I could hang on to while I find better opportunities. And I
Mm.
also remembered that when I was going to church, there is one lady that noticed that every single time the pastor, it was a bilingual church, and there was a translator and interpreter in the church. And every time that the pastor would speak, the person would interpret for the pastor. But the lady sitting next to me noticed that before the person even interpreted, I had already interpreted, but with a very lower voice, in a very natural way, right? Without really thinking about it. It was something that was coming so naturally. The lady called my attention and said, "You sound like a very good interpreter. Would you like to become an interpreter in the church? I'm an elder in the church. I can find a way to get you to do that, and it will be very helpful to the church so that you can help the person who's currently interpreting." And that's how I started interpreting in church. And then I started translating documents for the church and for other people. And at one point now, when I was working for $9 an hour, I said to myself, if I could interpret at church, then I could interpret elsewhere. And that's how I began to do research about how to become an interpreter in the United States. And guess what? This is
No.
one country where you can actually become an interpreter
Yeah.
without actually having a credential. They don't require the credential at some places. For example, the immigration. I'll go to the immigration and interpret there. They're not going to ask me for any kind of degrees in interpretation. They're not going to ask me for any kind of certification. All they want to make sure is, are you able to interpret from French to English and English to French? If you can do that the right way and we have a monitor, then you're good to go. You don't have to worry about showing anything. But if you're not good at it, after 5 minutes, if we feel like you're not doing your job right, you're going to have to leave, and the person you were coming to interpret for will have to find another interpreter, and their case will be delayed. But guess what, Coach Darcy, for 10 years now, for I don't know how many years now, I have never been in a situation where somebody's case was rejected or delayed because I didn't interpret right. I was in such a difficult situation that God blessed me through the church to practice interpreting and translating. And I ended up turning that into my first business in the United States. When I started interpreting, I found a company that would also allow me to interpret from home for doctors' offices, for MoneyGram, for different companies, right? They would just call, and people would call, and they would transfer the calls to my home office, and then I would interpret. But what was the salary? It was about $8.50. And it could be more if I interpret for 60 minutes or something like that. It was really a miserable income, I would say, at the time, and I had to take care of my children. At one point, I thought, if they're going to charge their clients and then have me do the work and then pay me $8.50, I'm sure there's a way for me to become the provider of that service.
Come
So
on
that's how
now.
it all started.
Yes.
And I was doing all the research, and I found out, oh, you know what? I can actually sign up on a website where an American Translators Association, put my information there, and companies
ATA.
will contact me. Can you imagine how this all started? That's how I begun to receive calls. Can you come and interpret with the Department of Defense? Can you come and interpret with the Department of Agriculture? And they will pay me $500, $600 a day. That's how I learned, oh, I can actually turn this into a business. And I started Keyword International with the bridgelingual being the translation services side of my business. And Coach Darcy, in 12 months, I was able to make my first six-figure in the United States. After so many years, 12 months, I made over $100,000 because I was getting contracts here and there with government contractors, 10,000, 20,000, 40,000. Can you imagine that? But I first started just thinking that I can just be an employee until I found this opportunity. And guess what? They actually have a way of setting aside contracts for minorities.
But now let me say something. I mean, your stuff is just so good. I didn't know, because like, I don't know if you knew that, but I start as a translator too.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
I'm
I
just learning
start.
that now. Isn't that amazing how people
I,
connect?
I start as a translator too. Same
Wow.
type of situation, just like you, doing some crazy manual job, walking on a highway on a hot sun,
What?
getting burned. Yes, I was working on a highway with my brother from Mexico. Mucho
Wow.
trabajo, pequito dinero, amigo.
You were into constructions. That is the hardest job in the United States.
I was doing that, and sometimes was working at a warehouse. But I said, like, wait a minute. So I was, in my church, translating for my pastor, and my pastor said something to me would change my life forever. He
Wow.
said, Darcy, do you know that when you translate my book, because then I start translating books,
Yes.
you can write your own book,
Mm.
because that's what you do. You take
Yeah.
my word and you rewrite
What
my
an
book in your
inspiration.
language. You actually write the two. I said, And then when because I'm very good with technology and stuff like that, so when I figure out, I said, wait a minute. So I can now have contract to do audiobooks. And then I realized that sometimes in some publishing companies, they can pay you up to $25,000 just to record a book.
Translate the book.
I said, okay, now that's it. Until I got my business now. So I, said, that's it. So I said, like, okay, I need a website. So I went to talk to someone and I asked him,
Yeah.
like, can you build me a website? He was like, we talk about 2004.
Two,
He said,
2004. That's about, wow, 16 years ago.
yes. And he
Wow.
said that, yeah, I need $5,000. I said,
Yeah.
$5,000? I mean, to me, back then, it was like $50,000.
That's a lot of money in 2004.
Yeah, where I'm gonna find $5,000? So I went on Google and did my research, and then I started building website. I got so good that 4 years later, that same guy asked me to build a website for him.
Wow.
That's a true story.
Amazing how you can turn things around.
That's a true story. So now let's go that to, really want to stay focused on you. Let's talk about now the very important question. Now I want our audience to know, especially people who live in the United States and people who live in Africa.
Correct.
They always ask me, I believe they ask you too, but if you speak French, why you do videos in both languages? Why you just always do stuff in English and in French? I say, because I have a lot of American partners who need my services too. And
Correct.
in their mind, they think it's impossible for us to be African descent and making a business here in the United States and have American clients. So can you talk a little bit about that, about what was the initial in your mind? So like, you know what, man, I can make business here in America too. What was your
Right.
transition in your mindset? So like, it's possible for me to do that, man. I got the
You
courage,
know,
man. I'm gonna do it.
I think to answer your question, I would say money. And I'm not insulting anybody, but
Yeah,
you know our community.
yeah.
So I first started my business at home. It was just in my room. I just had a computer and yeah, just the computer and the internet connection. And I would just be taking or my main clients would be Cameroonians. It would just be word of mouth, and they will refer people, and I'll be busy. It's gonna keep me busy, but it will be $25 per page. You understand what I'm saying? And for you to translate a page, it would take about an hour. And I'm thinking $25 for all of this work, and it's really hard. And I'm looking online. I'm trying to get a benchmark, and I'm going to all the conferences. I'm going to the ATA conferences, and I'm networking. Right, I'm networking, talking to other translators and other interpreters, and I see how much they're making, and I'm asking myself, I'm sitting here making $25 per page. What kind of life am I going to build with this? And what kind of business is it that I'm going to be the only employee, right? It's not going to take me anywhere because, Coach Darcy, there's only 8 hours in a day.
Come on
So,
now.
you know, the breaking point came, or the turning point was when I got a contract for, I think it was about $20,000, and it was going to take me about 2 weeks to finish. And I was working about 12 to 14 hours per day. It was, I think, a manual. It was a user manual or a participant manual, something like that, for a conference, a very big conference with the United States government. And I decided to work on that by myself. And they asked me to send them a quote, right? I went based on what my colleagues, right, other translation agencies charge. And I think that turned around, that was around $60 per page. If I kind of like bring that to a per page price, but I think I charged them per word. It will come up to about $60 per page. And it was so tough. It was tough. By the time the 2 weeks were over, I was so tired. I was feeling pain everywhere because I was sitting for so long. And although the money was good, I just thought to myself, this is not going to be something that I can sustain. So I need to find a way to take my business to a level where I can hire other people and I can get more clients, right?
Yes.
So it started just with me taking $25 per page here and there with my community. And then I thought, no, I need more money. I can't live with $25. And then I was able to get a contract, but I was working on it by myself. And so I understood that I had to take my business to another level. To another level, meaning I needed to have a website. I needed to go back to school. I actually went to school and I did a master's degree in translation studies at the University of New York. So I had some credentials. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you're going to try to get more clients out there, most of them are going to begin to ask questions. Although my African community was paying $25 per page, they were not asking me any kind of credentials or anything that could allow me to charge them more. And so by getting more training, getting more tools, getting more networking, I was able to now take my business to a level up and be able now to target more clients, network and get more opportunities, and found an office. This is where everything changed, is that I now found an office in Washington, D.C., about 5 minutes from the White House, 5 minutes walking distance to the White House, and 5 minutes walking distance to the World Bank. And because I took my business out of the house, and Coach Darcy, if you think about it, most of the time in our community, when we start a business, we want to stay in the house with the business.
Yes.
And that's why it doesn't go that far. I had to take the business out of the house in order to get more clients, more customers. When then I had an official address in Washington, D.C., because doing my research, I found out that international entities, international organizations, and those big corporations, they're the ones that actually pay big money for the services that I'm offering. That's why it's important, regardless of your field, do your research. What is your target? What are the people that may need your services that will be willing to pay a good price for it? Don't limit yourself. So by doing that research, I found out that those companies will be the best target, where I'm going to make 80% of my revenue with 20% work. And by having that access,
excuse me, like you
now go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you're putting too much jewels. So I have to slow down.
Let me stop here.
I have to slow you down, because most people don't understand that. I put a post on Facebook today, and I said that is not really about, before you think about marketing, before you think about your pricing, make sure that you have the right business model. Because I believe that most people, they don't understand the structure or how to do something. I was always telling them, to always tell my client, it's easier to get 10 people to give you $10,000 than 100,000 people to give you $1.
That is true.
I said, like, I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but when you start doing business, it's all about doing your business a la carte.
That is
It's
right.
mean like it's customize your business to a point where the 80%, because like as soon as you exchange time for money, you are not entrepreneur, you're self-employed.
You're a slave.
So you have to create system.
Yes.
So the system gonna work for you. Today I'm blessed, between my spouse and I, We have 99 online courses available online right now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
99.
When you're
Out there.
sleeping, you're making money. That's the way to go.
There's
That's the
somebody somewhere right now who are looking at what my course and are going to buy something, right? As you speak. But I put the system in place because if you have to hustle for the daily money, you're going to kill yourself.
No, you're a slave. You're a slave.
So,
You
so
have
you- what
to
you said was
understand.
so powerful when you said like 80 to 20, the 80
Right.
20. So now when it comes to that, I like what you said, like, in our community, you have to take your business out of the house to have a structure who can handle the demand, because it's all about the structure. Because
That's
now there's
right.
some people that know we got a business outside the house, but they still don't have a business structure
You need a system.
to
You
handle.
definitely need a system. You need a clear business model. And once you find that, you're good to go. The fact that I found out that having an address specifically at a certain location would be very, very good to my business. I did not hesitate, and that worked out so well, because most of the time for my business, people go online, even companies up until today. That's how I get my customers, is that they just Google the translation businesses around them. Translation business near me, translation agency near me. If you think about it, in if I live in a neighborhood where it's just a residential neighborhood, how many people are going to actually contact me for translation near me and pay me how much? But if my business is near to corporations that potentially will need my services, I've already won. That's what
Yes.
made it easier for me to start making money very quickly when I started the business. And then it just kept going up and up and up when I was just developing that business model, especially when I understood that by myself, I can only make so much. There's only a certain number of hours that I can work. Being able to add other languages, the thing is that when the difficulties that most entrepreneurs have is that they are perfectionists, right? They're very detail oriented. They want everything to be perfect. And I suffered from that. Is that I wanted to be able to be the person to translate my document. I wanted to be able to review them. I wanted to be able to revise, make sure that everything is perfect and neat before I send it to a client. If now I'm doing Arabic and I'm doing Chinese or I'm doing German, chances are that I don't understand anything, right, from that document. So if another person translates the document, I might send a document to the client and the client would not be satisfied. So I had to find a way to get more languages, more personnel, and find a way to get those personnel, people that will be able to review their work. So it's all about the system. What you said is very important. How do you set your system in place so that the model works to facilitate overall the business operation? And that worked out so perfectly for me that at the time that I'm speaking right now with you, I have not translated a single document for years now, because I now have enough people to cover different languages. So it's all about getting started, finding your way, finding the best business model that works for you, and still be able to get a life, right? So that you don't become a prisoner, you don't become a slave.
I mean, I'm telling you, you answer like most of my questions. It's like,
I'm
it's,
sorry.
no, it's good. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's good. So now I have two more questions that I want to
Okay,
ask you.
sure.
The question I want to ask you is one question, but it's really one question and two parts, A and B.
Okay.
So the number A is that with what's going on now with George Floyd, and because like I really want to give an idea to people, like, as Black people, and we know so many people all around the world who are Black. We got
Right,
friends in every country possible.
right.
What is the most effective way for us to become louder? So
Yeah.
I think I
I
already know what
understand.
you're going to say.
Yeah, to be part of the conversation, to have a seat at the table.
To have a seat at the table. What?
Right.
Just go ahead. What do you
Yeah.
think? And number two, and number two, why is so important to make sure that we invest with somebody who look like us?
That we're, I'm sorry, why is it important to make sure that we are in business with someone who looks like us?
Yes, like when it comes to the importance of a black dollar, why it's so
Right.
important for a
Exactly.
black dollar to circulate. And also, I want you to talk also about the trading, the importance
Right.
of
Well done.
currencies and
Okay.
stuff like that.
So, and that's actually my answer. That last part of your question, that's my way of getting us to get a seat at a table, or to be part of the system, or to take advantage of, get a piece of the pie.
Yes.
What is happening right now is really appalling in the 21st century, that in 2020 we still have a situation where black lives really don't matter, that black
Yes.
lives really don't mean anything, that somebody who grew up in this country, who saw that we had a black president, who probably had a black neighbor, who probably went to school with a black person, who knows that a black person is a person that deserves respect and that deserves to be treated equally. I don't understand how it is still possible for somebody to treat a black person like, really, like trash, like an animal. Even animal are treated better
Oh
than the way we
yes.
are treated in this country.
Yeah.
Because I cannot believe what I saw. It's my 17-year-old son that brought the video to me, the George Floyd video to me, and I was shocked all day. I had a hard time sleeping. I couldn't believe that somebody can actually place their knee on a human being's neck and stay there, not for 1 minute, not for 2 minutes, hold it there, just chill, their hands not worried about anything. Like, I cannot believe a human being can be treated like that. So I believe that it's important for us to wake up and understand that we can no longer have this conversation as if we are victims here. We're going to have this conversation equally. We're not, I mean, I'm not I don't want to be part of this idea of claiming that Black Lives Matter, or forcing somebody's hand to give me what I deserve, to treat me like a human being. This is the same country that goes in Africa and other countries and talk about human rights. Are we thinking about human rights in this this country where we are right now, when we treat human beings the way we do? I'm not part of the, that idea that we have to claim that our lives matter. No, we're gonna act like our lives matter. We're gonna show them that we are people, and that we have talents, we have knowledge, we have ideas, we have vision, and whether they like it or not, we're just going to impose ourselves as being part of the conversation in this country. For that to happen, we have to build more businesses. We have to make sure that our children go to college, that they graduate, that they learn about money, that they understand how money works, that they understand how the financial system works and how they have lied to us for so long. They understand how Wall Street works. They understand how, even when there's a crisis, big corporations and big companies are taken care of first. They are bailed out first before thinking about us. They got their money. Some people up until now don't have the I don't know how they
Yes.
call it, stimulus check. Some people until now, they have not received it yet, right? But big corporations, most of them have received enough money to continue to function. We have to level up. We have to begin to find out how we can build schools. We can build schools where our children can go. White people are welcome. I'm not all about segregation, but we need schools where we can teach our children about money, about values that they need in order to be in the conversation as they grow up. We need to trust each other in the businesses that we run. because it's not just about having a Black business. If I have a Black business and I'm not doing a good job, I'm doing the Black community a disservice.
Come on now.
When I offer translation services, I make sure that from the time you call my company, from the time we send you a quote, the quote is on a letterhead, it's clean, it's neat, it's detailed. The way we inform you about your work, the way we deliver the work, the way we find out if you were satisfied, we do a survey, the way we carry our business makes you respect who we are. People are going to respect us, not based on our ancestry, not based on our history, not based on us going out there to march and claim that our lives matter. They're not going to respect us based on whatever Congress is going to say. They're going to respect us based on how we're going to carry ourselves moving forward. The businesses we're going to create, how we run those businesses, the schools that we're going to create, how we train our children. And on my part, to take care of the last part of your question, how I'm handling that, or I already explained why I think Black dollar matters. If we have a good business, Black people are going to want to come to our business. I don't want to go to a hair salon and then get there and somebody is smoking as they're doing my hair, or the person is disrespectful, or the person is over on the phone, or the person is eating. If I go to a place and I'm treated like a queen, I'm going to go back there. I'm going to have more people go there, right? I'm going to recommend the business. I'm going to write reviews. So my answer to you is, let's have more Black businesses, exemplary businesses, and let's have more platforms to train our people. Now, to tell you about how I'm going about that, I personally decided that I'm going to create a section of Keyword International LLC that is only going to focus on financial freedom. It's going to teach people how to become financially free, how to understand how the system works, how to be part of the investment community. Because when we look around, we see that most investors are white people. We see that in the Black community, when you talk about investment, people ask you, what is that? All they know is to have their savings account, for those who have a savings account, or to have a jangi where, we come and bring the money together, we bring the money together and one person goes and uses the money. Many of us don't know about investment. And so in my Cameroonian community, my company is the first organization to offer a training on investment. And for almost a year now, we have been training people every single month. As we speak right now, tomorrow we have our June session. It's going to be via Zoom, of course, because of coronavirus. And we are training people so that they understand how Wall Street actually eats all the pie, and find a way to get a portion of that pie. Because think about this, what kind of job Coach Darcy is going to give you $1 million a year? How many businesses can be scaled to the level where it would be $1 million business? But when you invest, you're actually you have a say now in other people's businesses. So all those white people that have businesses, by buying stocks in those companies, I'm actually owning a portion of those companies. And because I own a portion of those companies, and I know that they're gonna do everything possible for those companies to be successful, as they become successful, I'm making part of the money. So that's what the Keywords for Success Masterclass is all about. It's to teach people how to put their money at work, put their money to work for them. Because if you're working for money, you're a slave. But if you're able to have passive income, either because you're getting dividends from a company, as we speak right now, I received a notification this morning from NVIDIA, and I think NVIDIA and some other companies that will be sending my dividends this month. And that is something I didn't have to work for that. All I did was to invest my money, and I'm getting a dividend.
Some people don't know what it is, so
And
let me
people don't know.
break it down.
And so getting dividends is it's like
Very
you're going
important.
to sleep and your money is working for you. And the kind of money, the returns that I post on my page, and for those who are watching us, they're free to go on my personal page and sometimes my professional page, Coach Lisa Prudy, or my personal page, Lisa Prudy. They will see some of the screenshots. I share that with people so that they understand, so I can open their eyes. And guess what, Coach Darcy? A lot of people, at first it was hard, but a lot of people is picking up. Now I don't have to advertise the training. People just come to the training on their own when they see what their friends are doing, the friends that do the training with us are doing, their family members that do the training are doing. It's impressive. It's impressive that you can invest $500, buy a few stocks of Ford, of General Electric, of Uber. You're riding Uber every day. How about you make some money off of Uber being rich? They are billionaires. How about you make some of that money? If you go to Starbucks, why don't you own some Starbucks stocks? If I go to Costco a lot, I go to Walmart, I have to own their stocks because I know that they're getting my money and they're getting other people's money. And Coach Darcy, you know that better than many people, is that Facebook allows people to advertise their business. I advertise my businesses on Facebook. If I'm giving them my money, I'm also buying Facebook stocks to make sure that I'm also going to make money as they make money from me and other entrepreneurs. You see where I'm going with this?
Come on
So
now.
this is what we're doing right now in this community to help the community learn how to get some pieces of that pie. Because if you're financially free, you can have a conversation. If you're hungry, there's no way you're gonna have a conversation. All you're gonna do is whine, cry. You're gonna throw stones at the people from Wall Street, or politicians are gonna come and tell you, oh, this country, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. You have to vote for Democrats so that we can increase taxes on the rich. No, I want to know how I can become rich. I don't need you to
So
increase
I
taxes
don't
on
pay
the rich.
taxes. That's it. But if this is an American dream, and I want to come back to what you were saying before we close, because some people don't understand. So I will try to break it down. Dividend. A dividend is when every month you receive a check from a company that you're using every day. Some people receive dividend on a monthly basis. Some
Yes.
people every 3 months. Some people
Quarter. Yeah.
6 months. Some people every year. But you need to be part of a system.
You
Is
do.
that there's 4 ways to make money. There's 4 ways to make money. You can wait or wish for a promotion, get a second job, become self-employed, invest in real estate, or get paid for your experience, or invest in the stock market. So
That's
you
right.
have to choose one of those avenues to enhance yourself. What I
That's right.
love about Coach Lisa Prudy's story, she let you know she was coming from nothing from Cameroon, but she has a drive and the education she received from her mom to work hard.
That's right.
Right now, she's coming from somewhere very far, and tomorrow she has something to do. Tomorrow I have something to do at 9 o'clock, and something. I mean, like it's a weekend, but we're working. I mean, I never worked as hard during COVID-19. I have a
Yeah.
lot of profit. I made a lot of profit too, but
That's
I
right.
work hard as well. So we are working. Now some people they're watching Netflix. We are here talking to each other because I mean people don't understand
Oh,
the amount of work that you
right.
you have to put in. And when you put in
Tirelessly.
that type of work, you're not concerned about who like you, who don't like you,
Oh no, no,
you
no.
know,
That we don't have
because you're
time for
so
that, Coach Darcy.
focused. You're on a mission. You're on a mission because you're preparing a legacy
That's my
for
dream.
your
That's
family.
my dream, Coach Darcy. I want to see many Africans become millionaire in this country, and it's possible. And I don't see any job that's going to give them that $1 million. You said something about COVID-19, and in March is actually the month where I made the most money in the stock market. I made about 200% return in the stock market in March. That screenshot is still on my page right now. For the little investment that I had in one of my accounts, that account was turned into $150,000 gain in 1 month during the COVID-19.
Come
And
on
during
now.
COVID-19, a lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their businesses. In fact, I shut down 2 of my businesses, where mainly a hair cuttery space and a hair braiding space. I shut down those 2 businesses. During COVID-19, who was going to go do their hair? Nobody, right? So if I were just relying on those 2 businesses to survive, I will have nothing. I will have no food on my table, right? But because I was also an investor, you need multiple sources of income. And Coach Darcy, repeat that. I hear you, I see you, I read your posts. You repeat that so often. People need to know the importance of diversifying their sources of income.
I have a course named The 12 Secrets to Build Your Online Business. So I'll show
Right.
people how you can receive 12 different income every month from one business. Because like people think that because we are coach that we're living through coaching hourly
Oh
consulting.
no. How
Like,
much
like,
how
like
much are
we
you gonna charge for coaching,
like
Coach Darcy?
like
Even if it's $100 per hour, is
no,
that
I mean
is
no,
that
you know
what
what?
your time is
I have a
worth?
post. I have a post I'm about to post tomorrow. In July, I already started, but in July, I can only coach 2 person a month. I cannot coach more than that. And you know, my prices, you know, so because I don't want to waste your time and my time. So if I
That's
have to
right.
coach you, it needs to be worth something.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm not doing no more 1 hour consulting because there's nothing I can do with you in 1 hour.
Oh, nothing. Nothing.
So if you come with me, it's going to be 4 sessions.
You get the program. You get into a
That's it.
program, at least 4
Four
sessions.
session, I'll let you know, 4 session, and then we walk. But 1 hour just to tell me what you want to think and think about in 1 hour, I will tell you something. No, you have to take 4 sessions and to give you homework. Make sure that you have a methodology. I send you, you come back, and then I track stuff. I used to give my online courses before homework. I'm not doing that no more. I said, I'll go watch your course, then let's have a session to go
Right.
and let's break down the course because it's
That's
too easy, you know.
oh, it
But I
is.
mean, you know, Lisa, we're gonna do it again in French, probably
Definitely.
sometime in July. We're gonna keep in
Sure.
touch. I
It will
heard a
be my
lot about you. I
pleasure.
believe we have somebody who's watching a lot of my stuff who told me about you, and I
Yes.
like your stuff. Sometimes your comments and stuff, and you know, you're so sharp in your mind.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations to your son. I know what he's doing, and I see his dunk and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So most
I'm
definitely,
I'm hoping to see him in the NBA soon.
he will. He will. There's no doubt. Who I saw him play, no doubt.
Oh
But
yeah, by the grace of God.
what
Anyway, thank you so much, Coach Darcy. I really
we
appreciate
will
you
do
reaching
something
out.
together in DC as soon as that COVID over. We're gonna figure out to do a mastermind in DC.
We
Invite
do need
maybe
that. We
20,
do.
30 people and negotiate like something where we
Right.
can both win-win.
Definitely.
And we must gonna create something. If the COVID continue, it might be virtual. But
We can find a way to do it virtually. Coach Darcy, before you close, I just
yeah.
want to take that opportunity to tell people the importance of collaboration. There is no competition. There's no competition. You have your lane, I have mine, and I just enjoy seeing what you're doing to transform people's life. And I see how you interact with me and how you congratulate me, encourage me on the things that I'm doing. We need each other to build each other, to build
Yes.
our community, to lift our community up. Let's not be afraid to work with each other, and let's not cause each other harm. Somebody's trying to work with you and you're trying to drag that person down. Please, we are going to be the first people to think about lifting ourselves up. If we can do that, other people are going to respect us, because the first reaction they have is, how many of you are killing each other? How many of you black people are killing each other? Don't just come and complain about that we're killing you. But again, we're not going to give them that excuse ever again, because we're going to continue to lift each other up. And I appreciate you reaching out to me and giving me your platform so I can tell people what I do. And hopefully this is going to change somebody's perspective, change somebody's life. Don't limit yourself. I always have this mantra is, achieve your dream. Yes, it's possible. And yes, you can. That's what we say at Keywords for Success. You have your dreams, just work at it. Make sure that you don't give up. Keep at it. You're definitely going to achieve your dream, because it's possible. Coach Darcy,
Wow.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We're going to do the same thing in French next month, okay?
Definitely. Take care.
All right then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.